Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the main stage of HR Week 2021. A little bit earlier on, you had the choice. You chose your case study. We had a great case study right here in track A. Excuse me. Okay, right. We move on right now to managing. It's all about managing digital transformation. We're going to jump into a healthy, productive, healthy panel discussion, really getting closer to really making sense of really what it means to all of us, all our companies, and what we do in HR. So I'm going to now invite to the stage our moderator, who's going to make sense of all this together. And that is the Vice President, the HR Vice President of Essity, Mr. Bogdan Radakovic. Bogdan, are you there?
Hello, Peter. I'm here.
Hello, Bogdan. I can hear you. You sound great. I can see nothing. You're in the dark. We need you to put the lights on. And there we are.
Let me check. The camera is on. What else is
it's maybe on, but you're in a dark room. We'll just try and find the lights.
No, it shouldn't be the case. Oh, wait a second. Fine. It can be the different.
You'll figure that out. Yeah, absolutely. It's fine. We can hear you in the dark.
Wait. Okay.
Put the lights on. Fantastic. Bogdan, how are you?
I'm fine. So technology, digital transformation, trying to find the right screen.
Find the lights. Yeah, put the lights on. That's right. Where are you right now, Bogdan? Tell us.
I'm in Munich. It's a bit chilly here today, so first morning cleaning the car from the ice. But
really icy, an icy morning, right? Well, here in Belgrade, it's sunny. It feels good. It's feeling good here, actually, on the HR Week 2021 virtual playground we're in. If you have a look, well, everyone has already. It's quite sunny outside anyway. So wherever you are in the world, we're brightening up your day here at HR Week 2021. Right, listen, Bogdan, I'm going to leave it up to you now to invite your panelists to delve into this topic a little bit more deeper. And towards the end, I'll jump back on and naturally, hopefully, we'll have some questions from our listeners and I'll pose those to the panelists. Okay, so Bogdan, over to you.
Peter, thank you very much. And in our session today, we will spend some 40 minutes with you guys discussing the topic of the digital transformation and how HR can support this digital transformation to prepare our employees to use these new technologies to create the business impact, but also to hopefully create a great working environment for our people. And then saying that, we will reflect a little bit on the role of the leader as well. So what is the leader that we are looking at to drive this digital transformation or to support this digital transformation? And then as well, where do we find this leader? Because I think everyone is saying that the digital transformation is a topic in most of the companies we are connecting with. But then how do we are all then looking for the same people to be able to drive their digital transformation? So some of the questions are, we find them within the organization? Do we recruit them from the outside? We will try to answer in today's session together. And then it's enough about maybe introductions. I would like to introduce my colleagues that will be sharing this topic together with me today. We have 4 HR leaders and great experts in this topic. And here I would like to introduce Bojana Vasiljevic from NCR company, Hanna Škero-Kosic from Erste Bank, Ivana Mihajlovic from Adria Media, and Milica Perišić from Netconomy company. Hello, thanks for being with us here today.
Thank you.
I think I hear you. I see you.
Hi, nice to be here.
Nice to see you. Nice to meet you virtually.
Hi, Bogdan.
Good. So maybe we start first giving a little bit of flavor to our audience, because I think when we discuss digital transformation, everyone imagines maybe something slightly different. But maybe just we start first with understanding when we talk about the digital transformation. So it's like almost like a buzzword. But maybe telling us a little bit about the digital transformation at your company. So how you do that, what's your role, and maybe that would be the good starting point for us. And Bojana, maybe you go first with with this one?
Yeah, sure. So thank you. It's a great question. And I would be able to talk for hours about this topic, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet. So I work for NCR Corporation. So we don't only have digital first within the company, but what we offer to our consumers and customers is actually to make their business digital first. So we work with the solutions for our customers for, hospitality, so restaurants, banks, financial institutions, retailers, to ensure that they can offer digital experience to their customers. So it's all about the experience. So what you kind of do when you have your digital banking, so how you do banking, where you do your banking, that's where we are. We are behind these solutions. So then you can imagine the whole journey working in the company that sells such a product, what it takes to have inside to be able to deliver this to outside. So I guess we can talk about this a bit later on, but this is in a short how I see it. So it's about your experience. So what you as an end user are going to see and experience, and it makes such a huge difference.
Thanks, Bojana. So basically, for you, digital is a core business in a way. So your employees cannot escape digital even if they want to.
They've got to live with it. Yeah.
Good. Hannah, maybe tell us. I don't see Hannah. If Hannah managed to, yes, we see that Hannah has some challenges with the sound. Maybe if someone can help Hannah with the sound, and in the meantime, Ivana, do you maybe want to explain what the digital transformation is at your company?
Well, I'm coming from media business. Adria Media is the leading publishing house in Serbia and actually one of the regional leaders in media overall. And for us, digital transformation actually represents utilization of digital technologies to create new and improve current processes of how viewers expect us to deliver media, interpret it, and as well improve their overall viewing experience.
So once again, digital being part of the core business as well.
Absolutely, because I think it all comes down to the changing business model. Because in current times, with everything changing, you need to adapt and proactively initiate improvement of business model. Mm-hmm. And then follows culture, processes, and finally customer, or in our case, viewers' experience.
And we'll talk about that a bit later, because I think this is always interesting for us in HR, like looking from this kind of external in, outside in perspective. So this digital being part of your kind of the core business in a way. So this is definitely visible from the outside, but then how do you drive that internally? How do you prepare your people, and so on and so forth? Hannah, I think you are back with us, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a proper digital day without some technical issues. So
that's very good. And I think we will discuss agility as well, probably as one of the core themes. So
for sure. This is just giving the example of how it works.
Good. Maybe Hannah, we said before digging into the topic, maybe just explaining shortly what is then the digital transformation at your company. So how do you define that, and what do you work with this one?
Yeah, so I mean, as in any other industry, of course, banking is being heavily hit with the need to go digital, and Erste is not an exception. So currently, what we are working on is this massive overhaul of our complete tech background, which is going to push us even more towards digital. That would be just the necessity of the current trends and evolution. And on the other hand side, of course, in order to do this, it's not only necessary to do the tech upgrade and tech changes, but to have a really close look at the processes, and something that is really difficult for banking, to start thinking digital first rather than traditional first, as would be our standard way of operations until now. And never to forget, and this is of course then why this is a huge HR topic, how do we manage employees in this changing environment, from setting the what does digital mean, to still acknowledging the fact that there will be a need for this hybrid mix model of working. So the traditional, especially in banking, so there will always be a part of people who need and want to do, or customers who need and want to do traditional way. So we need to foster also employees who can manage in these surroundings, but also allow for those who need to push the bank towards digital. So just when I sum it up, to say, okay, what are the minimum requirements needed in order to go digital? What is the standard that everybody needs to have, and also how to foster the early, the first movers, the sprinters in the digital race in a traditional industry such as banking.
Good, nice perspective. I think basically you're driving the both externally, getting people more digital. I think you have an application called George or something like that. I'm not sure 100%. Yeah, that is the logo behind, right? And at the same time, trying to move the organization internally. So it's interesting, really, to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Milica, maybe from Netconomy, what's your digital transformation?
Hi, Bogdan. Thank you. So basically, similar like Bojana mentioned, for NCR, we are also, our core business is helping customers with the process of digital transformation. So that's a good thing. And basically, Netconomy since 2000 is doing this. So supporting different clients to move their current business into digital excellence. And we do that by providing some digital platforms that are providing this great customer experience. And again, as Bojana mentioned, so we need to be able also internally to create such environment that will support our core business. And that also means having people with certain expertise, also having the right culture, and of course, digital infrastructure. And now I think also in remote, with the COVID and everything going on, we even have more challenges in trying to maintain also the social aspect and keeping the good relation with our colleagues, even if we don't see them. And so HR definitely has the key role, I would say, and now more than ever in helping our businesses to find the right people, and in the same time facilitate our culture that has to drive the whole process.
So for really interesting, I mean, we said we are discussing here like a panel discussion, but we almost have like 4 different cases, which I think it's interesting to see the same topic from different angles. Milica, you mentioned this recruiting, so basically searching for the talent. Maybe Bojana, question for you: if you're looking at NCR, so where do you find the people? I mean, is there any special place where do you search for the talent with these digital skills, or how you do that?
So I just wanted to say to Hannah, call us if you need help with this. You know, NCR can really do the
for sure.
That's good. That's a good PR. That's a good PR.
I don't even need to call. I just need to open the window and shout, right?
There we go. So we are close to each other. So that's cool. So it's a great question, Bogdan, and there is no one solution. And you know, I think somebody mentioned agility already. So the things have changed dramatically, especially if you work in the technology company, which is kind of leading the, you know, the digital transformation, because what you see outside is what you have to have inside. So for us, really, the key of the success is how to find good talent, not necessarily with such a high level of the skills we need, but then how fast and how agile you can make them be the talent you need them to be, right? So it's really about speed development, putting them on the projects, exposing them, pushing them, and really giving them massive, really, really strong learning. So because you can't just go and pick from the shelf, right? It's very hard. And also lots of our solutions are customized, which means that you will require different set skills in combination with something that people already have or don't have, right? So it's really about get that talent and then see how fast you can put them into the position to perform, and always train, invest in people. Be prepared, this talent is going to move. So don't think about, oh, how I can keep them more. Just continue developing them, growing them, and, you know, kind of be ready for the next thing, because these guys are on the move all the time. So it's a big challenge, but it's also huge satisfaction because when they come to you and they tell you, oh, look at this app we just designed for the restaurant. I don't know, in California, you can do this and you can do that. You see the excitement. It's just amazing working with these people, but it's a challenge. So we need to invest in people. and be prepared that they're going to come to ask for more. So that's kind of the thing I'm seeing as a theme across our businesses which are dealing with this high capability of talent.
Super. So basically, it's not searching for the exact capability you need externally. It's more like a broad, like someone that is agile, able to learn and being excited about.
Exactly, and it's also about the assessment, and it's also kind of, we really have a very good mentoring program in NCR, really great onboarding. So to put all this together in the perspective, some skills you can find on the market, but just kind of, you will never find exactly what you're looking for. So very often we have managers, hiring managers, who are like, oh, I would like really experienced cloud person. And say, yeah, okay, but how we find them, how we attract them, because one thing is getting their names on the list, but then the next challenge is, why should they work for us? What do you offer as an employer? Back to the development, kind of professional learning and so. So we need, as an HR then / like recruiters, because we are all one team, right? We really need to be agile, flexible, and we need to have this dialogue with our business stakeholders to explain. So they understand you can't just find, you have to build.
You need to build.
Combination, build and buy, and so yeah.
Hannah, I mean, before calling Bojana for what do you guys doing? How are you dealing with this topic?
Yeah, I mean, this is really an interesting question for me, especially when I was looking through our data. I saw that, especially in the branch network, we are already by far recruiting people born in the year 2000. So I would say when discussing digital, these guys are digital natives. I mean, probably they were first born, we get born now with a phone, with a tablet, set for internet access and everything. So when searching for people, we do not necessarily search for this digital person or whatever. People are already. What I think now is the key, especially so obviously we recruit people from university because as Bojana mentioned, the devil is in the details. So it's much easier to really invest in development of somebody and develop them through this Erste school rather than having somebody who already has the experience. But on the other hand side, I think what is really crucial when searching for talents like these is being honest and being fair to what you promise compared to what you deliver. It would be really dishonest to promise somebody today joining the banking industry saying, okay, you're coming into this super digital modern environment, the Revolut of Serbia or something like that. This is not the case. But on the other hand side, what I think we can promise is, look, you can come here and you can really make a difference. What you imagine, what you are able to do can really be utilized because these systems are still not in place. So to come back to your question is where we are looking all over, but for whom we are looking for, we're definitely looking for people who enjoy a challenge and would love to learn through the system, who acknowledge the fact that they're not coming as ready-made people, but that this is an opportunity.
But basically, I mean, conclusion. So both you, Bojana and Hannah, you both mentioned that you don't find really like ideal profile externally. It's like you need to invest something in the people after. So you're searching.
Nor we're searching for the ideal. I mean, it's just the best attitude fit, I would say.
Yeah, and I just want to add something quickly, just triggered my thoughts. So what we noticed last couple of years and became a trend, and actually we are kind of promoting this, lots of skills you build within, right? So we position this through the career progression within different teams so that they can kind of build up through lattice and ladder and learning different skills. So that's also very important because you want to give a chance to the people you have and they already have the know-how. So I'll just give you a quick one. So each year we promote within around 700 people, like 70% of our positions are filled in within, because these are the critical skills that we kind of have and we can lift them up, which is very important. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for us to operate in the market.
Yeah, the same.
It's a great example. And maybe, I mean, if we now continue elaborating, maybe even and Milica, so we said ideal profile you don't search for, you don't find. So, but then the development of those people happens mostly then internally. So maybe even from your perspective, then how do you then develop these people in your organization? How do you train them? How do you get the skills you need at the end?
For us, it's important to build especially internal digital skills marketplace. And what that means, preferably, we are trying to connect digital talents and translators. Digital translators are a big part of our digital transformation initiatives, because you have people who are digitally talented, but have an issue of translating that knowledge to other employees who are maybe more analog. So for this reason, we are utilizing translators who are supporting the process by trying to translate what is the importance, the value, and the benefit that will people have once they gain the certain knowledge and skill. And it all comes down to top-down approach. You have to have leaders who are building trust and giving examples to other employees that first, there is no fear in overcoming digital skills. There can be only benefit, and always building the mindset that machines are not over men. Men are over machines. Because one of the obstacles in digital transformation is also the fear and anxiety that people are scared that once they gain the knowledge, maybe they will be replaced by machines. This is not the case. And for us, it's important to, besides gaining the knowledge, to build beliefs and mindset and behaviors that accelerate the digital transfer of the knowledge. So in order to do this, we also do and invest extensive time in mapping the digital expertise within the organization. And from there, we are recognizing those who can translate, those who need transfer, and further we motivate on how to deliver those initiatives, and as well do plan on the job training and further mentoring, as Bojana said. For us, internal building is quite important, because if you consider media, you have a pretty old school media approach. You know, print reporters are different from web reporters. When you consider newspapers and, you know, the way it was delivered once versus web approach and digital hyper production of content, it's quite different, because now you are in need of reporters who can be fast, proactive, and find exclusive information. When you look at the past, that was not the case. Everyone who was the first had exclusivity, but now you are in risk of copy pasting everything. You have hyper production. And so how do you translate those traditional mindsets to become less perfectionistic? Because, you know, you have to be fast and you have to value speed over perfectionism. Because if you try to build a perfect report or news,
too late.
You're going to be the last. So you have to balance those out. And for us, this is why it's more about the mindset than just the skill. And so this is why culture plays a huge importance in the whole digital transformation process and development of digital skills, because it's more about critical thinking in digital context rather than just building the skill. I hope I made this clear.
Yes, and I'm just like digesting and reflecting. I think what you're mentioning, this element of fear, where you still have some kind of traditional skills or traditional profile of people, maybe in your industry. I really like that moment, and maybe how you manage that resistance. Maybe we can come back later. I think you gave one good example, basically having this culture starting from the top as well. So showing that this is normal, that people need to change and learn and whatever. So I think this is super interesting.
Thank you. And it's more about evolution than revolution, because you need to be always looking like proactively how to evolve and how to offer something new and utilize innovative technologies to improve rather than replace.
Thank you, Ivana. Milica, how does that look like from your perspective?
Well, definitely nowadays we cannot even survive with these digital skills, I would say. So part of any modern organization, it's a must, it's a necessity. And I think these skills basically have been necessary for quite some decades now. So even with the first computers that we all got, we had to kind of educate ourselves. But yes, the economy is part of agile business environment. So we also have to catch up with the new technologies and trends that are there. So for us, it's also important that our employees can track all of these changes, that can also grow as individuals. So we have one internal department that is called Netcademy, and they're solely, for example, taking care about these skills development and providing the training, doesn't matter if it's internal or external one. There is also different collaboration with some external coaches or mentors, also to support leadership team, but also all people in a company. And I also read some article about, I don't know, digital skills needed for 2022 that would make you right away employable. And now it even says, so for example, social media, understanding and manipulating, also data analytics, so extracting this data and use it for revenue, for sales is very important. Also content marketing. So content is the king, as Ivan also mentioned, and now even creating it so for all of us is becoming important. Also for employer branding purposes, besides the sales and other reasons. So yeah, we have invest in this development, as I mentioned, internally and externally, and we are also looking for new ways how people can learn. So we had a really nice meeting with some provider about digital learning platform. It's so nicely solution. It's cloud-based delivery content, and it means that you as an employee get account, you enter this platform, and you have customized learning paths for yourself, and you can read this with all devices possible. So mobile, tablet, computer, doesn't matter. So this really gives flexibility people in sense to choose the time when they would like to read. And yeah, of course, it is a certain cost, but I think it's worthwhile and needed nowadays.
No, but it's a very good example. I think the last one you said, customizing basically the development around your employees, so according to their needs. And I think we all face that in our lives, at least the number of trainings, the number of initiatives, like everyone is so much snowballed by that one that you cannot even understand where do you need to go. I think these are probably some topics for the future discussion. So how do we support our colleagues better in selecting what is really relevant for them? But saying that, maybe Bojana, question on the if we reflect on the role of HR, then so we said we recruit people, we find them, we search for the kind of, not for the skill, but more for like a profile. And then we develop them. But is there anything else that HR should do more, or that HR should do less to support the digital transformation?
Again, I would need 1 hour, but I'm going to try to keep it short because it's a great question. So I think we touch, HR is everywhere. So we are totally digital, right? We are like totally artificial intelligence now because we are really everywhere. So if you think about what it takes for the successful digital transformation, it takes the strategy which is going to define and be led by the guy or the leader or the lady who really believes in it, right? See the benefit of the business be going digital. Then it goes to people, as we talked about, people, it goes across them, the culture, touches our customers and our clients. Like I'm looking at Hannah thinking, you are the potential client of NCR. So how do we come to you and kind of, get your guys to feel comfortable? The digital is not going to eat or override what people do. It's just going to help your customers have a better experience. So as an HR, if you think about this circle around transformation, I think we are present everywhere. I think our critical role is to balance. So for example, make sure that your leaders understand your talent capability, your workforce. Make sure your leaders want to invest into the right capability and talent. Enable the culture. So we need to be a platform and supporter of this culture, which is going to help digital. So support flexible working, support learning, help our people grow, help them explore. If it comes to culture, we need to make sure that culture is driven by test and trial. And if I fail, it's okay, because I can place my idea out as an employee and it's going to be embraced, or maybe I learn something and I go back to my project. So I think we have a big and huge role to play. It takes for us to be agile, to understand, and I learned myself, we need to be ready and prepared to forget how we did things in the past, and to learn how to do it differently. And it's going to be fun. Because we are going to have great outcomes for the business and for the people. So I think maybe my answer was very generic, but I think we really have huge role to play, and we should be very present. So that's how I see my working day is never the same. I speak with different leaders, with different employees, different job groups, talk about different products and so, but the value we can bring is really, really huge. So I'm a big believer in that.
I like what you mentioned, like this. How did I test and trial, like the culture you create? And I guess for the digital organization like yours, it's probably super set.
Yeah, it's failing forward. So for example, think about if you have your people who are developing an app, right? They have a sit in the room and they're going to have those discussions and go try things. Things are going to fail. They're going to go back, reverse, try again. You have to have that culture at that table, which is saying it's okay and we can do it again. And even if your idea wasn't the best, right, that's okay. We can kind of learn from it. And so if you enable such a culture, I don't think it has any difference which type of the business you are in. You're going to be a winner because you are then bringing this agility on the table.
It's a great example. Hannah, maybe from your angle, test and trial, I guess, not with my bank account at least, but how do you do that?
Honestly, not much different today than from designing an app. Like the design factory that is happening in the banking industry is now more or less quite similar to what is happening in the IT industry as well, because introducing a new product now works in the similar kind of fashion with the trial and fail methodology, and being much faster than the previous. You build and set up the product for 2 years prior to launching it on the market. But I fully agree with everything that Bojana said, so I don't want to repeat there. But I just want to add another one. I'm sure Bojana would have come to that one, and I agree with at least one day of talking about this. Besides cultivating the proper culture and the attitude needed and the environment needed to foster digital, I think also what is the role of HR is to forget that the first and primary focus of HR is the people in the organization. So these are our most valuable resources. So having in mind that somebody else is managing the external customers, it is up to HR to make sure that if digital is the way to go, then we need to treat our employee experiences the same way. So I think putting for a pause a little bit the discussion about culture, I think what is also a key role in the digital transformation of HR to reevaluate all of the key employee experiences that they go through in their life cycle with the organization, and make sure that at least majority of them are digital first. So if we want to push our employees to think digital, to offer digital touch points, processes, products to customers, we can't ask them to be a paper-based organization, to do not have access to work with subpar equipment, or the list could go on. So I think it is the job of HR to be the advocate for the same experience in our employees that we offer and want to strive for in our customers.
To help creating that environment.
Exactly.
And we mentioned a lot. I'm just also looking at the time, so we probably have some 5 minutes more. I will try to stop maybe a minute before if there is any last question from the audience. But maybe Ivana, from your end, we discussed a lot about the leaders. So and this transformation starts from leader. I think we all agree on that we need to create that from the top in a way, that environment. What is maybe one or two new skills of these leaders when you think about this perfect leader? What are then the skills of the new leader?
Well, I consider it interesting because leadership in digital world is a new field of study, actually. But my personal opinion and professional as well is that the good leadership skills are fairly timeless and universal, because it all comes down to soft skills, honestly. What is changing is context of leadership, not the style. So considering context, you need leaders who value speed over perfection, which I already mentioned, who are agile, up to date, intellectually curious, always looking for opportunities, and really good at prioritizing and focusing on what can bring additional value to the business model as soon as possible. And this is quite difficult because we are working in complex systems who are interconnected, and that can be quite of a challenge. So decision making, I think it's really important. Informed decision making, because you can be exposed to various information that can cloud your opinion and decisions, and constantly scanning for opportunities. And what I mentioned previously, always working on preventing anxiety and fear about digital transformation. And how do you do that? By constantly communicating openly and clearly about what is coming up, and providing employees with resources and opportunities to explore and experience in pilot versions, if possible, new technologies.
So
and
basically,
this way you are gaining buy-in step by step, but at the same time encouraging people to fear less, and then encouraging them to be more proactive in applying new technologies in their everyday jobs.
Thanks, Ivana. So, Milica, from your perspective, the same question. So the great digital leader, what are the new skills of the future?
He has to be a magician. Kidding, but basically, as we already mentioned, so this approach is like that there should be more coaches rather than bosses, and more to have this moderator role and to facilitate people. And I think this gives freedom and encouragement to people to try actually new initiatives, to be entrepreneurial, so to explore some projects within the company. And also it gives them more responsibility, so makes them more accountable. But as Ivana mentioned, also this communication, and especially now in remote conditions. So I think leader needs to be able to create this relationship and a good connection with the people, and even purposefully to more communicate, as now online is getting more tricky here, and we don't have so much information as we do from verbal communication. So that maybe would be something that's desirable. And I also got inspired from what Hannah was saying about HR being the drivers of this process. So maybe it's interesting to share that within our HR team, we adopted some agile principles. So for example, we have daily stand-ups in our team, or monthly sprints or retrospectives. So this also allows us to have some clear commitments and to follow our progress in doing some tasks. So we are also trying to be the drivers of this, and also to apply something in our work.
Milica, thanks a lot. And I think, from you, Ivana, and from you, Milica, probably I conclude that we are probably talking about the leadership role didn't change that dramatically. The context is changing, and then ability to make informed decisions in all this kind of overflow of different information and so on and so forth. But maybe, Peter, here we pause, because I think we want to leave maybe a minute for a question, if there is any question.
Well, guess what? There are no questions, but that's okay. That's absolutely fine. Just because there are no questions here, it doesn't mean that people naturally are passively thinking about and contemplating what you've just said. So listeners or audience members, you've heard exactly what this is all about. You're curious. You'd like to know more. I'm sure all our panelists will be happy if you reached out to them over LinkedIn, let's say, and maybe started that collaboration and conversation even further. But in the meantime, all I'm going to say is thank you so much to all of you for sharing your insights. So Ivana, Hanna, Milica, Bojana, and Bogdan, thanks so much for sharing, and obviously for your time as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for having us
Thank you,
here.
Peter.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Right, there we have it. One more session we've got through there. Again, more insights and more content. If you've enjoyed it so far this afternoon, you're going to get exactly the same again, but certainly within different topics and different things, all under the same umbrella of digital HR, which we move through the day as our main theme. Right, what's going to happen now is you have the chance to jump into our networking session. So let me just quickly explain once again, if you haven't done it already, how this works. Simply go to the agenda. You can see the agenda button on your screen. You click that. Once you've clicked that, you'll see on the right-hand side 3 different options, 3 different networking sessions. Each of those has a host moderator that's leading the discussion forward. And then certainly it's over to you to get involved, to either chat or even you can open up your cameras and actually get involved and give your perspective. We want you to give your perspective. Again, what you've heard already over the last 2-3 days together, these are perspectives, ideas from different experts within HR. Naturally, you are also naturally an HR expert. You have your voice. We would love to hear your voice as well. So again, choose exactly which networking session you want to go for, get involved and get engaged. After that, again, open up some free time for you to stroll across the HR Expo Zone, really getting to know some even more of the vendors, the organizations that are with us, connected with HR, friends of HR, and see really what they have to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop now, let you do that, and we'll be back together at 3:25 for Expert Talks. You have the choice once again of 2, make the right choice. Well, not making the right choice, whatever choice you make will be the right choice. And again, meet you back here on the main stage at 3:25.